Yes, people, welcome back to West Ham Unofficial. I hope you are all well. The Premier League roundup show is back for another week. And Shaun's had a good week. Me and Josh haven't had the best of weeks, but we'll get into all of that and more a little bit later on. Firstly, Josh, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Not as good as last week, but I'm still good. At least I didn't get battered.
At least you didn't get battered, yeah. And Shaun, how are you feeling?
Yeah, really good, lads. Strange weekend, not having a game of football to ruin your weekend. Yeah, bit of a strange one. So I haven't had my eye on the football as much as I normally would because of that, but we'll give this a go.
Okie dokie. Right, let's go first to Josh, Shaun, Josh. Right, yeah, Josh. Sorry about that. Right, Josh, you first. So Brentford 2, Watford 1. There was late drama in this game.
Yes, definitely. I think I saw a lot of this game. I thought Watford. I put Dennis in my fantasy football at the right time because he got one. I took out Chan for Wolves because I know that he hasn't been scoring too much lately, and he had City, so I took him out. And yeah, it's fair enough, but I thought Watford were really unlucky. I know King hit the post, Dennis scored obviously, and then I thought Brentford were quite lucky. And to be fair, they conceded they threw it away last week against Leeds a last minute, so they probably deserve to get a last minute winner this week. But yeah, I thought Watford played really well. First half anyway, I think second half fell off, but first half I thought they played really well. Yeah, and I don't care. I'm just happy that I had Dennis in my team. But yeah, it was the penalty. It was the definite pen at the end. Pretty stupid, I thought, from the Watford defender. And it was a good penalty from Mbemo. He had a few chances in the game as well, but didn't take them. But it was a good pen, to be fair. And it was second half for Brentford looked quite better than the first half, I'd say. But I don't think they deserve to win the game. Probably deserved a draw, but I think they'll be fine this season. But Brentford and Watford just about, and Brentford I think they'll be fine. Top 15, I think, for Brentford. I was looking at the team the other day, the lineup, and I just think that's an awful team. It's championship level, but they're them like Sheffield United the other year when they had that brilliant season. It's a championship squad, but they just play well. I think if they might do with Sheffield United, I think they'll be really good this season, but maybe next season they'll struggle. I don't know, but yeah, really good win for them.
Yeah, I agree. Since you've mentioned fantasy football, it's the first week this week where I've actually done all right. I got 70 points this week. Ramsdale got me 11. Gallagher got me 12. Jorginho got me 15. Yeah. Salah got me 16. It's the first week where I've actually done all right. Soufal got me 60. I've got me 5. Happy days. Joshua, I hope you are. God, Josh was a Liverpool fan. Oh, God, you're going to get it here, Josh. We will get on to that a little bit later on. I'll tell you, very, very bizarre in the next game for you, Shaun. Man City won, Wolves. Now a player got sent off with 2 yellow cards inside a minute at the Etihad.
I actually quite like the sending off. I think referees, they don't always. Well, if we delve too deep into decisions, would be here all day. But quite often referees give the benefit of the doubt and are a bit soft on a few things. The letter of the law says if you obstruct a free kick, you're going to get booked for unsporting conduct, and that's exactly what he did. He can have no complaints at all. I don't know if you're going to get onto this as a broader subject tonight, but this was the first game you've gone to where there was a very, very suspect penalty decision.
Yeah.
And I think we got this one. We've got 2 or 3 in the Chelsea one. I rewatched that one again today. United one. I think we had 2 at Anfield, didn't we? We had a typical Salah sort of draw the foul, the sort of foul that Liverpool fans slate Harry Kane for doing. But when it's Salah, it's like, definite penalty. And didn't Villa have quite a good claim one waved away as well? Yeah. But yeah, on this one, I thought this penalty, I thought this is the worst of the lot, to be quite honest with you. It sort of went up in the air, it sort of hit him in the armpit, didn't it, a little bit? And this is
the to be honest, I haven't watched a lot of football this weekend. This was the only penalty that I actually saw, and I could see both ways of it because the different angles they showed, some of them said the ball was here and some of them was here. And to be honest, I was doing a watch log on another channel doing this, and I could see both sides. People were like, but it hasn't hit his arm, but people were like, he's in an unnatural position, his arm shouldn't be up there and it's kind of blocking. I can see both sides of it. And to be honest with you, I mean, I've heard the Chelsea one and the United one were worse than this as well, but you know, I haven't actually seen them. But this one I could understand why they gave it, but I don't know.
The problem is that one of the I don't know if VAR gets more camera angles than what we get to see. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. The main angle they kept showing, it didn't even look like handball, but obviously they must. It is an odd one. It doesn't matter if it's in an unnatural position. If it doesn't hit your arm, does it? So, but Wolves, I think. Well, they might still have it. Before this game, they had I think it was the fourth best defensive record in the league. Obviously, they only lost 1-0 very late to Liverpool last week. They've lost 1-0 here, but they're not scoring the goal, so they're keeping it tight. But they'll be mid-table, won't they? But Man City, along with all the top teams who are apparently meant to be blowing everyone away, probably quite lucky this weekend.
Yeah, I agree. There's plenty of other VAR decisions to analyse a little bit later on. Paul, hope you are well. Right, next up for you then, Josh, it's the big one. You were there, Liverpool won, Aston Villa 0. Explain to us about the game and then explain to us what you said about the atmosphere before we came live.
I thought, first of all, I'll go with the atmosphere. I thought Liverpool, it's meant to be a famous atmosphere. No, I didn't really hear anything out at Liverpool. Our atmosphere was really good. I think it's been better at other away games, but maybe that's just because I don't know. But I still think it was brilliant. But yeah, we were taking the mick out of Liverpool a lot because they were meant to have this mad atmosphere. I didn't hear anything, to be honest. But yeah, about the game, I thought we defended really well. That's one thing I've noticed since Gerrard's come in. We're defending so well. We kept them at bay for 65 minutes, I think it was. Defence was solid. But they're just such a good team, like on the counter attack. Once you lose it, once they get on the counter attack, they're just so quick getting forward and it's hard to get back. But overall, I thought we defended well. The penalty, I'm not sure. Gerrard said in his interview that Salah fouls Mings first because I think he puts his leg across Mings. I'm not sure. I think it's one that Salah always gets. He knows it now. He's clever at getting them type of penalties. I'm not sure. It wasn't a blatant penalty, but I don't know. I think Salah does make contact with Mings first, but maybe then Mings can be a bit clumsy. I'm not sure, but he gives it anyway, and it's a ruthless pen. Salah doesn't really miss them penalties. And then our penalty shout 5 minutes to go, I thought was a penalty. I've got to say, I'm not being biased. I saw a few replays on it, and it looks like Alisson takes things down. He gets the ball first, but then he takes him down. It doesn't matter whether you got the ball first. In the end, if you grab the player down, then it's a penalty because he's probably getting to the ball after and putting it in because Alisson was well out of his goal. I thought that was a penalty. We were unlucky there. We couldn't really attack too much. There was one Ashley Young in the first half where he rounded Alisson, but his cross was blocked. Otherwise, if that cross had been blocked, we would have had an open goal. Apart from that, we couldn't really get out. We were just defending. We defended solid though. But last 10 minutes, we had a bit of a good spell. Few chances, but Van Dijk and Matip, they don't make mistakes. If you one bad cross, then they're not gonna fluff it or just let it go past them. They're gonna deal with it, and it's just nothing really fell for us on the day. But if you look at teams like Arsenal, who got better players than us, probably have higher expectations than us, they got battered 4-0. So, and we only got beat 1-0. So if you look at it like that, we did really well. They had a few chances, but again, like I said, our defence is brilliant. So I think to go to Anfield and only concede one goal and be a bit unlucky as well with your penalty decisions, I think we did really well. Norwich and Burnley next. Hopefully we can get 6 points out of them 2 games, but it's Villa, so I know we won't, but fingers crossed we do. But yeah, I thought we played quite well. We were quite unlucky, but yeah, it's just Liverpool, isn't it?
It is just Liverpool. Right, I see what Josh was saying. Let's go here. Getting what a result. Atmosphere was good. So there you go. They think the atmosphere is good when they sing Liverpool, Liverpool twice. It's just honestly, Josh, don't worry about it. It's just Liverpool fans. Thought Alisson was a bit dodgy and thought Martinez kept you in it, and we should have had 2 pens. The one on Robertson and the one on Sadio Mane. Now I can see your face there, Josh. Now, Josh, I'll take your word for it. What do you say about what Josh says there?
I can remember one in the first half. I can't remember who it was on. It was Matty Cash. Made a little bit of contact, but I don't think it was enough to be a penalty. Like, it's just, I expected it to be a penalty because it's Liverpool. That's why I expected it to be a penalty, but it wasn't a penalty. I can't remember who that was on. But I've had loads of people saying Robertson deserved a penalty. I can't even remember it. It went on the highlights or anything after the game, so it can't have been much, can it? So, no, I don't think. Yeah, there was a few shouts for both teams, but yeah, I don't think.
Yeah, plenty of people in the chat talking about Ronaldo's penalty. We'll get onto your comments on that. I'm going to star them so I don't forget about them. A couple of comments about Ronaldo and all of that stuff in just a second, because I've just watched the highlights of that whilst Josh was speaking there, and I've got some thoughts on it. I'm not going to lie. John Moss had a bit of a shocker. Yeah, John Moss had a bit of a shocker on our game. In the VAR room, he still managed to mess it up in the VAR room, about 300 miles away. But anyway, we'll get on to that later on. No, Josh, watch match of the day. He gets the ball biased. Oh, here we go. It's all kicking off here. Maddison penalty was the worst one. We'll get on to that later as well. Matip and Virgil won all their aerial duels. The Robertson one was more of a penalty. Chelsea's second penalty was a shocker. It certainly was. Nakamba ran across and kicked Robbo. A bit of bias there, Josh. That's fine, Josh. Don't matter. We'll move on. Right, Shaun, coming back to you. Oh, now you have got the game. Probably the most exciting game of the weekend. Chelsea 3, Leeds 2. So in this game, we've got 5 goals. We've got nearly a scrap at the end from Rudiger and Firpo. Now, I've just watched the highlights back again. I've watched them a few times. That second Rudiger penalty was not a penalty in any stretch of the imagination, and Leeds will feel hard done by.
I believe it or not, I've watched the highlights of this one about an hour ago as well. As I said before, I've got a good friend who's a Leeds fan, so when he talks rubbish, I'll make sure I know what I'm talking about. I watched it. Chelsea aren't in the best form at the moment, are they? There's 3 penalties in the game. I think you and your dad have both said that the second Chelsea one was soft. It was, but the defender's a bit too tight behind the defender in the box.
Yeah.
The problem nowadays, and it's probably the same as the Ronaldo one that we'll get picked up on in a minute. If you get too tight to certain players at certain moments in the game, you're giving certain players a chance to go down. And I think that's what happened with the Chelsea second one. I just think the defender's far too tight in the box. 94th minute, the player's got us back to the goal. He's touching. He is touching. He's that tight. He sort of moved his leg towards him. What do you expect? There's not many players in the game who are honest enough now not to feel nudging the back of the leg in the 95th minute, not to go over. And with VAR to look at it now, you're going to take your chance, aren't you? So I thought the Leeds penalty was a bit iffy, the one they got. He took the ball, but a bit of the man. I think the Leeds fans are more up in arms about the Rafinha penalty because they said he got the ball. But if you look at it, it's another silly, rash tackle in the box by Leeds. He sort of takes his standing leg, then scissors kicks the ball. I think Leeds fan like, and even with the Chelsea, the Mason Mount goal, I thought the Leeds keeper was in an appalling position. Almost like he didn't even see Mason Mount there. It's almost like his position was thinking it was going to go across the goal, and Mount just tapped it in at the near post. Yeah. But fans, they're a little bit moany, like Liverpool fans. They get their rose tinted glasses on. I think the right back, Reece James, he got booked for a foul just after they went 1-0 down. It was hard tackle. Booking was fine. But these fans are posting all over Twitter different angles where it looks like it's 2-footed, even though his feet couldn't have been wider apart. They're trying to say it was 2 feet off the ground when his left foot didn't even leave the grass. It's just like fans like to cry, don't they? If it doesn't go their way, they like try to invent a reason why it was a bad, they were unlucky or harshly done by. I thought all 3 penalties in the game were soft. You could have waved all 3 on if we didn't have VAR. You could have easily done it. But I just think Chelsea aren't in the greatest of form. And I think Leeds played well. They probably deserved the draw. But they're just so naive at defending. And it's not just a one-off. I think they got away with one. Was it away to Palace when Ayew went down in the box? Could have been a penalty. I just think they're just they get a little bit too tight in the box. And if you get a bit too tight, you're leaving yourself open to be clumsy. Do you know what I mean? It's not like the Villa one with Mings on Salah, which I think Salah knew exactly what he's doing. I don't think Mings did a lot wrong. But when a Salah run, sometimes you've got to get a bit tighter because he's a wizard with the ball. You've got Rudiger, you're back to goal in the 95th minute. Do you know what I mean? You could just stand a yard off him, let him play it back to the right winger. It's just these just need to be. Chelsea aren't in the greatest of form. I think they've got Everton next, who are in atrocious form. But Leeds just a bit erratic and naive. And if you're erratic and naive, especially in the box, you're going to get a lot of bad luck go against you. And I think that's what summed the game up, really.
Yeah. Leeds did not seem to learn. It is nice to see Leeds bad, but yeah, just a bit of experience, a bit of nous in that last minute. You don't need to get, he was going nowhere. His back's to goal. He's not, Rudiger's not going to turn and do an Henri and whack it in the top corner, is he? He's a centre back, for God's sake. There was no need to get so close to him, but it was slightly soft. Josh, Arsenal 3, Southampton 0. Arsenal continue on beating these bottom half sides, but we'll see. We'll see on Wednesday night whether they crumble against a decent side.
Wait, have they got you?
Oh, they certainly have.
Yeah, Arsenal, they've been a funny team this season. Where every time they play against a bottom half team, they always seem to batter them like 3-0, 2-0, 4-0 sometimes. But whenever they come against like one of the big teams, like I know they got battered by City 5-0, they got battered by Liverpool 4-0. They always seem to like, so they can like, it's almost as if they're too good for like the bottom half teams, but they're nowhere near the level of like probably the top 6 teams. So yeah, in this game I think they deserved it. I thought after their defeat against Everton, they probably needed that 3-0 win to get the confidence going again. I think Aubameyang was still didn't play, did he? Don't know what's going on with him.
He was in Barcelona getting himself a tattoo.
But ever since he signed that new £350,000 a week new deal or whatever it is, something like that, he's never been the same player. So I can't remember what someone I talked about last week was saying this. Is it when players sign massive like 300 grand a week deals, they don't play as well? I'm not sure, but it happened with Ozil once he signed that massive deal, and looks like it's happened with Aubameyang now. I think he'll be gone soon. I think his deal's up at the end of the year, isn't it? Or has he got another year after this? I don't know. But yeah, he was again, he went playing. He got took off, or didn't even play in the Everton game as well. I know that Nketiah, come on.
He is rubbish, he is.
Yeah, but so I don't know. Arsenal, they have such a young squad. There's not really much experience. They have Xhaka. He's okay.
He's rubbish.
Yeah, I mean, as like a lead, and he might be okay on the pitch. He's not that good. And obviously, the only other experienced player is Aubameyang, and like we say, we don't really know what's going on with him at the moment. So I think Southampton, fair play to them in the game. I thought they had a couple of chances. They had Willie Caballero in goal making his debut. An emergency signing for him because the 2 goalies are injured. He had a bit of a shocker. But yeah, so I think I said they'll go down to start the season, but I think they'll be fine now. And yeah, I think Arsenal needed that.
Yeah, having a bit of a debate whether we think Leeds will go down. I don't think. I agree with GP. I don't think they go down. I think there's 3 worse teams in the league than them, if I'm being honest. And the amount of points is going to be very low this year. I think 35 is going to keep you up easily. I think, but we'll just have to wait and see. But we're going to take a little break talking about the games, talk about the Premier League predictions. This was the state of affairs after last week. Ollie sitting top with 18 points, Ben holding at the bottom with 7 points, and recognisable names are Josh on 9, me on 10, and Shaun on 11. And just before I show you this week's graphic, so basically Shaun predicted Brighton versus Spurs to be postponed, and it was postponed. So we had to give him 3 points, and he's had a very good week as well. And Shaun has jumped from 10th to 3rd with 18 points. Ollie's still holding top spot, joint with James on 20 points. Ben still bottom. I'm on 12. Josh is on 14, so now I'm holding up the rear of the Premier League Roundup show. Pano on here, so we're hopefully having a better week next week. But Shaun, what's your thoughts on jumping from 10th to 3rd in a week?
Well, you've got to keep your ear to the ground on goings on at football clubs. It always helps to know what's happening, injuries and illnesses and that. I think it was this Tuesday we put these predictions out quite early in the week, wasn't it? I think. Yeah. You got to know what you're doing in this sort of thing. It's a serious game.
Dear. Right, next up now, let's talk about United, shall we? Norwich 0, Man United 1. Right, I'm going to go through the comments about the Ronaldo penalty, then I'm going to hand it over to Shaun. Ronaldo was a definite penalty. You can't grab someone around the neck and drag them down. Ronaldo dies more than Tom Daly. Chelsea, and we talked about the Chelsea one. Right, so the game on a whole, firstly, Shaun, Norwich 0, Man United 1. I thought Norwich gave him a decent game.
I thought it was quite an even game. You wouldn't think one was meant to be the re-emergence of Man U under a new manager, and the other team were bottom or second bottom. I thought Norwich, even when we played, I think we beat them 3-0 last week. That was probably a harsh result on them. Really, they try and play good football, and they do like the cutting edge. They a bit like a lot of these teams that come up. They play the pretty football, but against a good team, you're probably going to get, if you're lucky, 1 or 2 good chances a game. Sometimes it's only going to be half chances, and if your quality of your finishing it or you're not sharp enough, you're just not going to score. And I think that just sums Norwich up really. Obviously, Ralph's coming to United. I think some United fans are happy that they look a bit more organised, but they don't. They're certainly no prettier on the eye, are they? They don't excite you. You don't look at them and think, "Oh, this is a team going somewhere." I think he's come in. I think he plays this strange formation, then 4-2-2-2 or something like that, and they sort of press it. I think people are obsessed and over infatuated with this pressing game nowadays. Like you go on the telly and all that, oh, you can press, but you got to press at the right time. Teams haven't always pressed, and there's always been good teams. Everyone's infatuated with getting a coach now that's you got to press high at the field. That's fine. Ralph might come in and do that. He might get them organised. But the first 2 games he's come in, was it a penalty? Well, it's a penalty and an unusual Fred goals was one of the first two games in the league for him. So you take 3 points and you move on. Of course you do. But the penalty again. It's an experienced player in the Salah sort of bracket. He knows the clock's running down. He's going to go down in the box. You put your arms or wherever he did, he's going to go down. I think it was very soft, very, very soft again. But by the letter of the law, I suppose he had to give it. And they knew it. A player of that quality sort of plays for it. We should talk more about Ronaldo's miss about 10 minutes later.
Oh, that was atrocious, wasn't it?
But yes, I don't know. I don't know what to make of it. I think Josh said that Villa have got Norwich next, didn't you, Josh? Yeah, I think
on Tuesday.
Yeah, but for a neutral, I think that might not be a bad little game. I don't know if they're televising it or not, But for a neutral, that wouldn't be a bad little game to watch. There'd be quite an open game, quite attacking. Both teams want to play similar sort of football. Obviously, it's the old Villa manager playing Villa again, isn't it? I believe.
Yeah.
That I don't think that'd be a bad game. But I think Rio Ferdinand was getting carried away with Man U looking at their next fixtures, and I think he was almost like counting how many wins they get already. It's almost like the Muppet don't learn. But United fans, like a lot of fans, they got their little quirks. They're obsessed with the Fergie era, where it's the United way. We need a manager who plays the United way. There's no such thing as a way. Do you know what I mean? Tottenham, the Tottenham way. Just because you've been successful in a certain period playing a certain attractive brand of football, that doesn't mean to say that's the club's way. Do you know what I mean? We can all pluck one or two managers out of our club's history that played incredible football and won all these trophies. But United now, they might have to be happy with grinding out 1-0s. Or are they going to moan about that because it's not the United way? We'll see. To be quite honest, I'm more interested in keeping an eye on what Norwich are doing than Man U, because I think at least they try and play nicer football.
Yeah. Questions: could Norwich stay up?
I don't think so.
It's a tough ask, to be honest with you. There are a lot of teams in and around there. Dean Smith has done what Norwich fans wanted. He's gone there and he's almost rejuvenated. He's almost pumped some blood and put some oomph into Norwich. And who knows? It's going to be. I think we could see the title go down to the last couple of weeks, and I think we could see one relegation spot go down to the last couple of weeks as well. Because it's, I mean, going into this weekend, all three teams in the relegation zone were on 10 points. It's going to be a tight season at both ends of the table, I think. De Gea, honestly. People say De Gea this, De Gea that, but he's been world class this season, and he's made some absolutely world class saves, and he's kept Man United in so many games. He's won Man United so many points. If he wasn't there and they had an average goalkeeper there, Norwich would have at least scored one yesterday, at least. De Gea kept United in it. Smith has done well since he's gone in, considering they had some defensive injuries. They gave them a game, and if they would have had their starting defenders, they would have won. De Gea back to his old way, saving United, definitely. Spurs will win the COVID Cup. I've heard that there's a massive outbreak in Man United set up with COVID as well. So, Shaun, you've got some competitors in the COVID Cup.
Yeah, I've read that. I haven't read the detail. I've seen the column that United have got a mini breakout in their game with Brentford now might be in doubt. I did read that Villa have got a couple as well. I know Leicester. I know Leicester had a few before this weekend. I don't know what they're like today. But the way it's going, I wouldn't rule out like a little mid-season break if a few clubs start to get 5 or 6 cases. Like Tottenham staff and players had, I think it was 21 in the end.
Was it?
Yeah. So, and they shut the training ground. Once they start closing training ground, if more than one club do it, you do wonder whether they think, right, let's have a fortnight off.
Yeah, to be fair, I mean, it's just because these clubs and you're still in the Carabao Cup, you've got to play us in a couple of weeks' time. If you're still in the Conference Cup, well, that's decided next week whether you're still in it or not. And you're in the Premier League as well, and it's so difficult now because you've already got one Premier League game, and you've got that game against Burnley that's called off because of the snow. That's not very convenient. You've got your game that you were supposed to play today as well. So that's 2 games you've got to try and fit in, and it's going to be so difficult because up until at least January, then up until January we're playing twice a week, and then there's a big international break in January, I think.
Yeah, it's with Tottenham. Obviously, they've had the conference. Well, basically, about this time last week, it broke. Obviously, we were on not a bad little run. It broke that there'd been a COVID outbreak, and it's from a reliable sort of source that any sort of ITKs that every club have. And then it grew pace, and then a few names got mentioned, and then they sort of announced it, and then I think that the bad thing was the numbers kept growing daily, and I think Conte on the interview, he looked quite shook up actually talking about it. Like, obviously, he mentioned the safety of families and all that. Like, and he said going in the build up to the Rennes game, the weird thing is, it's typical UEFA. UEFA've got a different ruling to the Premier League. The Premier League with COVID rules, they're it's a little bit vague on purpose, so they can judge each case independently. With UEFA, they're very blunt with their rule that if you've got 11 fit players from your A list and a goalie, you have to play. So a few strange fans seem to be on social media, where you always find them, seem to think that this is to Tottenham's advantage. Like they planned it, and it was like, but basically they went to UEFA, said, look, this and this. I don't think UEFA really said a lot to it. So Tottenham, which is unusual, but I'm actually quite proud of the club for this, pulled the plug on the game themselves first. They pulled the plug on it before UEFA. And Rennes were livid because they just literally landed in London when Tottenham pulled the plug on the game. So Tottenham clearly gave UEFA the chance. They look, we're literally ripping through the whole club, not just the first team. I think they've lost 5 coaches, 4 under 23 players. And like Conte said, he had 11 players he was coaching for the Rennes game. The rest obviously were separated. A lot of these were kids. They come off the training ground with the 11, and one of the 11 that trained then tested positive. So everyone that's tested positive is mixing with all the negatives. So it's like it turned into proper carnage, really. So Tottenham pulled the plug, gave UEFA the choice. Then UEFA said, almost agreed that it's off. Rennes had a little bit of a bitch at Tottenham, out the blue. I thought that was out of order. There was no mention of, we wish the players of Tottenham well. You got this COVID thing. You've got to be a little bit sensible how you approach it. But the last announcement with this was the game's not going to be played. So I'm fully expecting Tottenham to be booted out, which I don't care about, as you know.
Well, so the thing is, though, they are announcing how it happens through, is it disciplinary yellow cards and is it ethics or something else with the club deciding how many points Rennes get and how many points Spurs get to determine who goes through to the next round.
I don't. It's a load of nonsense. Even the other team in the group, was it Vitesse? We have Vitesse Arnhem. They were even put banners out saying UEFA Mafia and all this. Like it was a benefit to Tottenham. I'm baffled how they can view it that way. I think it worked out that if they played the game, we'd need a 1-0 win to go through. I like a little conspiracy theory, as you know. I wouldn't be surprised. Like some Tottenham fans, are thinking, "Oh, are we going to get fined? Are we going to get thrown out of Europe next year if we make it?" I'm like, they can't, because this is COVID. The doctors can prove the cases. But I wouldn't be surprised if we drop out of the competition, and being Daniel Levy, I wouldn't be surprised if we get a little bit of lost revenue compensation just to walk away quietly. But yeah, sorry to waffle on, but yeah, Brighton was stopped. Premier League obviously a bit more sensible than UEFA. That was stopped. I read this afternoon the first team training pitches open today, and they did a double session today, which Conte hammered the players. But the problem is, I'm assuming because of COVID rules, that is still only the ones that tested negative.
Yeah.
So it's still up in the air whether Thursday's game with Leicester is going to be played or not. So as you said, we've already got 2 to play. Then we've got Leicester. And it's the people are saying, oh, almost like Tottenham. Like Arsenal fans are crying because it wasn't called off because they had 2 players with COVID on the first game, even though the Arsenal as a club didn't even try to get it called off. Their fans are still finding an issue. But there's no benefit to Tottenham. We had 3 games in a row, wins in a row. We had 3 out of 4 clean sheets, building up a little bit of a head of steam, playing the Conte way, and now the rug's been pulled out. Do you know what I mean? There's no benefit to Tottenham. So after that, run up a good head of steam. We have Brighton, where we hope to go and get 3 points. And after the Brighton game, you think, right, we're getting there now. And now Thursday we got Leicester, Saturday we got Liverpool, and then Thursday after that we got your lot in the cup. So somehow we got to throw together a fit together team for maybe Leicester. If it's not Leicester, the last team you want to play on the first game back is Liverpool.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
So
Let's take some comments. Yeah, we just talked about that day. He's on the West Ham network. He goes by the name of Flip. Yeah, I know he's half decent. COVID Hotspur. Good evening, Simon. Hope you're well. Tottenham wouldn't win the Conference Cup anyway. Simon says, "Be careful what people say. Don't forget COVID going at any club it can. Tomorrow it could be announced that Burnley and Sean Dyche gave West Ham all of players." Oh, go on, Josh.
I was just saying, we have a little outbreak as well. Villa, I think it's more staff than players. I think one player has it. It was announced today, and a few staff. Not as big as like Tottenham's, and I don't think it's big Man United's, but it's just a little outbreak. But hopefully our games can still go ahead.
Hopefully so. Right, next up is our game, Burnley nil, West Ham nil. Josh, I'm going to come to you with this in just a second. I'll have my little say first. It was a boring game of football, to be honest. Yeah, people say it was a boring game of football, but there was a few chances in the game. We probably should have put one of them away at least, I think. I mean, Ben Rama had a good head on goal. Souček had a nice shot right at the end, but he blazed it over the bar. And I'm going to talk about VAR again. The West Ham fan base has been split on this. There was a penalty shout towards the end of the first half on Craig Dawson, where he basically tried to pick the ball up on the not the goal line, the whatever you call it, touchline thingy-majiggy, and basically the player came in, and to be fair, he was already leant over like this, and he wiped his legs out. To be fair, he didn't wipe his legs out, but he made contact with him, and he went to the floor. I wouldn't be so aggressive with this if it wouldn't have been the weekend that we've had. But we've had a weekend of penalties where I've seen a lot of penalties given for softer things than what this was, and this picture sums it up. I mean, it's having a laugh slightly, but this picture does sum it up. Checking VAR, possible threat to top four. If that penalty would have been given, Lanzini or Rice would have slotted it home, then we would have been a good 3 points clear of United, 4 points clear of Arsenal going into the next game week. Instead, we're just 1 point above United and however many points above Arsenal. But yeah, overall, that doesn't excuse. It was pretty poor from us, to be honest with you. It was one of our better performances in the last couple of weeks, but we were still just that final killer pass, that final killer shots just didn't fall for us. And Burnley were Burnley, just boring Burnley. And we move on to a massive game on Wednesday night against Arsenal. Josh, from a neutral perspective, what did you make of it?
Yeah, I thought West Ham probably had better chances, but like you said, it was a pretty dull game. Burnley had 1 or 2 chances, but I thought Rice had a couple of long shots, didn't he? Had one at the bar. Can't even remember the other one, but the penalty shot, I did see it. It was on Dawson, wasn't it? I don't know, I didn't see any replays on it. I just saw it when it happened. So I don't know. It's been a week of my penalty. The weekend of my penalty decisions being given and not given. But I'm not sure about that one. I think he does make contact with Dawson, and like you said, wouldn't be so mad about it because there's that many mad soft ones that have been given this weekend. That probably is a penalty because of the ones that some of them have been given this weekend. But I thought overall West Ham were the better team. Don't think our team was at the best. But I think you had more chances than them, didn't you? Burnley had 1 late one, so did West Ham. Apart from that, Burnley didn't create too much, but I'd say you had better chances. But probably the most boring game of the weekend. Really, I don't think too much happened, but it's probably a good point for Burnley.
Yeah, and I'm not sure many West Ham fans will be staying up and watching Match of the Day 2 tonight. That is for sure. Let's take some of your comments. Evening Atlanta, Deck and Stephen Mulhern. Well, Gary. I like it. Right, quick, yes or no? Josh, sorry if I missed it, but were Liverpool lucky to win yesterday?
Well.
Yes. There you go. We take it. Yes. We'll take it. Yes, that's all I wanted to hear. Thank you very much, Josh. A yes is what we were looking for. Right then, and we move on. And guess what? This next match has some VAR controversy. Can you believe it? Leicester 4, Newcastle 0. Now I'm going to let you talk about this show whilst I have a look at the highlights and have a look whether this Maddison penalty was a penalty.
It was probably the worst one of the weekend, I think, because he's diving like about 2 seconds before his contact. So I'm surprised. I don't know. Can VAR dish out bookings? I can't remember. But I'm surprised he didn't go back and, if they could, book him for simulation. It was that poor. Because the Newcastle players put his sort of leg in there, but he's going over way before.
Pathetic.
He's going over so early. It doesn't even. It takes one viewing of the VAR that, like, I caught the tail end of it, so I don't even know if the ref they asked him to go to the monitor or not. I think it's because he gave it as a pen. They don't go to the monitor. Is that correct? I think, but I don't know. I just think if the ref on the field takes one look at that in a replay, he probably books. Was Maddison, wasn't it, that went down?
Yeah. I've just seen it. You were bang on. 2 seconds. He was already diving over like this, even when the defender got close. It's pathetic, man. It's pathetic.
I'm very. Was that the first goal?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like, it's not the sort of luck you want if you're badly struggling like Newcastle are, and I'm just. It's a really, really poor one. Like most of the ones the rest of the weekend, you can sort of see why you can make a case for them a little bit, and you can like see why defenders maybe got himself in a tangle or been naive. But this one, like, the player's put his leg in, but he's gone over before it. He's trying to cheat, and the referees. It looked like a very, very simple one not to give that to me. And obviously it's 4-0 in the end, and you look at Newcastle, who weren't very good either. I caught quite a bit of scared. They weren't very good. I just wonder. Back to when it's mentioned the takeover a few times. Like, I don't think they've got no football people on the board. I don't sense they know what they're doing a lot. But obviously they've gone for the manager, and he obviously wasn't the first choice. Who are their targets going to be in January? Because I can
defenders.
Well, it's going to be whoever goes is not going to want to play in the Championship next season. So I'd imagine they would have to. I can see them getting a few loan players with one of these clauses that say like a loan to buy if you stay up, something like that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like, I think a lot of clubs have got a few that they could. Like Lingard's been linked to them. I could see him going there, and like, but he'll only go there like probably on I'll sign permanent if we stay up. One of them sort of deals.
There's only Shaun. There's only one place Lingard's going.
I can't see it. I don't think he'd go back there.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean?
We'll wait
for Lingard, it's just one player we're picking. It kind of makes sense to go to that deal. I said it makes sense to him because what are United paying? About 200 grand a week, something like that. Do you know something like that?
100 and something grand a week.
Well,
yeah.
he could probably he get that bumped up for going to Newcastle for 6 months. If he signs for Newcastle, he knows they should climb the table a little bit next year because they'll pump millions into it. So they're going to be better next year.
I'm convinced that Jesse Lingard cares more about playing football than he does the money. Obviously, he cares about money, but
he's gonna play at Newcastle, isn't he? He I can see him being one of 2 or 3 sort of deals like that because it's pointless going across Europe chucking 30 million at a defender, and they're going to look at and then offer him 200 grand a week, and they're going to look at right. You're on 10 points, you're rock bottom. I'm playing with a load of rubbish by about 1 or 2 players. They're going to struggle to get a normal buy to come in. So they might, if I'm going to chuck 3 names, for example, I could see a Lingard going there. I could see a Dele Alli going there on a similar deal. I could see Harry Winks going there on a similar deal. Defenders, you could take I could pick probably 5 players from Tottenham. I could see they're going on a similar deal. They need defenders that are Premier League proven but not really playing. Like they could even take like a Phil Jones. He hasn't kicked the ball in ages. They could take a Joe Rodon from Tottenham. Do you know what I mean? But I can't
Matt
see
Poverty.
Well, yeah, maybe. I can't. They've still got a Championship squad largely. They need more Premier League proven. But I think they're struggling. They're going to struggle to buy someone outright. Do you know what I mean? Maybe a few think, oh, why not? I'll move up there for the money. But like you said, the likes of Lingard, he wants to play. I think he'll be happy playing at Newcastle next season, the Premier League, because they're going to chuck a lot of money at it this season. But if he says, right, I'll loan to buy, because a lot of these deals nowadays, they've got clauses. If you stay up, you have to buy them.
Yeah.
So Lingard could go there, break a leg, and they stay up, and they've got to buy him anyway. That's the dice you roll. But I can see that being the sort of thing that would attract. They'd have to do, and because they've got the money. Because don't forget, also clubs can receive a loan fee, so they could go to Man U and say, "Look, can we take Lingard? We'll pay him an extra 50 grand a week. We'll give you 5 million for 6 months." That's the sort of thing. That's the sort of thing they can do. And I just think because the position they're in the mud at the bottom of the table. They look rubbish. They might have to do that sort of deal to get better players over the line.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's have a little look here. Right then. Here we go. Right. So what I've asked from Santa is I've asked one thing. I've asked us to win a trophy this year, and I've asked Santa to get Josh a West Ham shirt. That's what I've asked for Christmas. What about you, Josh?
I've asked for a top 10 finish and a good run the FA Cup for once.
well, you know, all you're going to get is probably, you know, top 10 if you're lucky and a West Ham shirt in the post. So, yeah. Merry Christmas. Why not? Merry Christmas. Right, let's move on. See, you always seem to get the Everton game. Family of Evertonians, Josh, and you always get the Everton game. Crystal Palace 3, Everton 1. Now, I only watched a bit of this game, and Richarlison was taken off, and there was boos from the away end. And then 5 minutes later, Rondon scored, the player he brought on, but still yet another loss for Everton.
Yeah, when Richarlison come off, the fans were singing "You Don't Know What You're Doing" to Rafa, and then 5 minutes later, Rondon would come on for score. I thought that was quite funny. But yeah, first off, Crystal Palace they sat back really and just didn't go forward too much and parked the bus, if you know what I mean. But Everton just didn't create too much in the first half. I don't think, and it was disappointing for Everton because after that win at Arsenal, you thought that could have been a turning point for them. They've got that win now, they've got confidence. Could be a turning point, and this Palace who are on and have lost the last 3, haven't won about 5 for this game. You'd think that'd be a good chance to get another win, but they blew it really. I know second half they had a few more chances. Anthony Gordon had one, it was a good save. Obviously the goal, not too much else. I'm just happy I had Gallagher in my fantasy team. He got 2. He'll probably get manager match as well, so that'll be a few bonus points. So yeah, Palace, they needed that after quite a tough run of form for them since we beat them. They lost every game after that. So yes, they were in a tough run of form. They need that. I think they've gone above us on goal difference now. We're about 12, 13, still above Everton by about a place or 2 places, I think. But yeah, I think Palace needed it, but Everton will be disappointed because I thought they'd win after Arsenal game. I thought it'd be a bit of a turning point for them now, but I just can't see how they're going to improve Everton because obviously because of all the money they've spent the last few years with financial fair play now, they've got no money to spend. And my granddad was telling me this the other day, the only way they could spend money, they'd have to sell probably play like either Calvert-Lewin, Pickford or Richarlison to get like at least 50 million, and then they can go and get like a few decent players with that money. But until they sell like a decent player, they can't spend anything. Obviously they got Damari Gray 1.5 million, looks like a bargain, but not every player if you buy for like 1.5 million is going to be good.
They could sell the left back.
Yeah, that's what he could be. I think he'd had a fallout with Rafa.
Yeah, he's good left back as well. Dina.
Yeah,
he's good left back.
Yeah, so maybe get about, I don't know how much for him. He's a defender. He's come up to about 30 now, so you won't get absolute loads for him, but they'll still get quite a lot. So he's one they could get rid of. But if not, I just can't see how they're going to improve. I can't see them getting top 10 if they don't sell a player like that because they spent that much money on just awful players over about the last 5 years. You've just got, not because of financial fair play, they're not allowed to spend any more, really.
This financial fair play is so stupid because
And,
these clubs aren't allowed to spend any money, but then Man City can go out and spend hundreds of £1 million on one player.
Yeah, they're like, Everton's owners are rich. They've got loads of money, but they're not allowed to spend it. Whereas, like you said, you got PSG a few years ago spending 200 million on Neymar, and I don't know what the wages are like, and you just think to yourself, well, if they can do things like that, then surely a team like Everton can, if they've got a lot of money, can at least spend like a little bit. But it's just stupid, really. But yeah, a good win for Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I agree with this comment here from GP. Palace are doing well quietly this season. Yeah, they've gone through a little bit of a rough patch the last couple of weeks, but back to winning ways for Patrick Vieira. I think he needed that win. And Patrick Vieira looks like a good appointment for them now. Let's have a look. We should go for Calvin. Yeah, it's going to cost a lot of money, I think. Great, yeah. Anyway, if all else fails, Everton do a great hot dog in the away end. That was lovely. If all else fails, they got the award-winning Premier League hot dogs, so they can win that award even if they do go down to the Championship. There we go. That's the Premier League roundup show done for another week, and we will be back probably same time, same place next week. And we have Brentford 2, Watford 1, Man City 1, Watford. Oh my God, let's start this again. Man City 1, Wolves 0, Liverpool 1, Aston Villa 0, Chelsea 3, Leeds 2, Arsenal 3, Southampton 0, Norwich 0, Man United 1, Burnley 0, West Ham 0, Spurs v Brighton postponed, Leicester 4, Newcastle 0, and Crystal Palace 3, Everton 1. There we go. So we will wrap things up there. Josh, thank you very much as always.
No problem.
And Shaun, thank you very much. And next time we speak, you might be out of the COVID Cup and you'll be back in the Premier League.
Yeah, I think we're 3 points behind West Ham, but 2 games in hand now. So.
I've just seen. I'll tell you what. Hang on. Before we go, I've just seen a Spurs account put that on. Oh my God. A Spurs account just put on 2 games in hand and we're only 3 points off West Ham. Apparently, it's their best team in the Premier League era. Rent free, honestly. It's just honestly, just sit there typing on their keyboards all the time, and it's laughable. I mean, Shaun, I'm sure you'll agree with this. It's laughable that Spurs fans are celebrating being 3 points behind West Ham.
I think they're more laughing about West Ham thinking they got a good team at the moment.
We got a better team than you.
I think I've seen. It's not just West Ham. They were laughing at Arsenal the other day as well. Obviously, we're above them, and apparently they got the second coming of Arteta ball. And it's the Tottenham season, to be honest, couldn't have gone any worse. The star striker hasn't even turned up yet. We're on our second manager. We lost 3 games in a row, 3-0. We've got a COVID ravaged team, and we were still above Arsenal, but. That was last week's news. Let's look forward to a new week. Let's look
forward to a new week. GP, nice stream. So refreshing not to have the constant arguing of Stal and Anton. Thank you very much, GP. Luke, you've come in right at the end. Hope you're well. Are you disappointed that Roberto didn't turn up at Turf Moor today to save us? But there we go. Thanks very much for watching from me. Come on, you Irons. And hopefully West Ham can get back to winning ways in the week. There won't be a midweek roundup show because there's just so much going on. We will be back rounding up the weekend's Premier League action next weekend. And hopefully West Ham are still above Arsenal, still above Spurs, still above Man United. And let's hope Aston Villa win. Hey ho. Come on, you Irons. I'll catch you next one. Cheers, guys.
Cheers.